Match types, one of the most important settings inside Google Ads, and one when improperly done can lead to catastrophic effects. And I've seen this time and time again inside of Google Ads accounts where people will just use the wrong match type for their situation and the results are horrendous most of the time. So in today's video, I wanted to walk you through essentially a full guide on match types, what they are, the different types of them, why they're important, how to set them up in your own Google Ads account, and the one to actually pick for your own situation. So without further ado, let's get into it and go over what a match type is. Now, a match type defined by Google Ads is kind of a complicated thing. So I'm gonna read off their website and then I'm gonna give you my own insights into this to make it a little bit more simple. Keywords are words or phrases that are used to match ads with the terms people are searching for. The keyword match type dictates how closely the keyword needs to match with the user's search query so that the ad can be considered for the auction. So essentially what this means is you have two things. You have a search query, which is essentially the person on the other side of the screen, whatever they typed in. So they could type in, for example, looking for pool installation or pool installation near me. And then you could have a keyword that says pool installation near me. The keyword is essentially what you're telling Google Ads to bid on. And then the search query is what the person on the other side of the screen actually typed in. The difficulty becomes what happens when someone types in pool installation or pool installation near me, and you only have the keyword in Google Ads saying pool installation. Those two things don't match, and therefore Google is going to say, hey, we're not going to bid on that. And that's the way it was for a long time with Google's exact match. And you would need to use every single different variation, pool installations, pool installation near me, uppercase, lowercase, there's a whole bunch of different stuff you needed to take into consideration. Now, that has essentially gone the way of the dinosaurs. Google saw that as a bad thing and essentially removed it completely from Google Ads. We still have exact match, but it's not the same thing as what it used to be. And I'm gonna walk you through each of the different match types inside Google Ads. Google gives great examples on essentially how these operate. Exact match, as you can see here, if we were targeting the keyword shoes for men, our ad can pop up for shoes men, men's shoes, men's shoe, shoes for men. Our ads won't pop up for men tennis shoes and shoes for boys, as essentially for exact match, we are going over the same meaning. And that's kind of difficult with Google's AI at the current moment. It's not perfect at picking up on context and understanding meaning at a deep level. It's very good at finding like related keywords, but even in this current moment for our accounts, we still notice that exact match can still generate pretty random keywords that aren't related. And I think the AI thinks it has the same meaning, but it just doesn't. You still have to go in and add negatives to make sure you're not bidding on things you don't want to bid on. But exact match is by far the most strictest match type. And if you want strict, exact match is still the way to go. Moving forward, we have phrase match, which as you can see in this example, you can see tennis shoes as a keyword we would be targeting, and you could appear for shoes for tennis, buy tennis shoes on sale, red tennis shoes, comfortable tennis sneakers. We would not appear for tennis store or shop for sneakers because they're not the same meaning, and essentially for phrase match, it's included. The search query includes the meaning. It doesn't have to be the entire search query, but it includes the meaning of whatever you were bidding on somewhere in it. Phrase match is a lot more lenient than exact match. It's very good at still being kind of relatable to what the keyword you're going after, but it doesn't go overboard kind of like with broad match where it will go after just about anything. It's still kind of good at reeling in the reins and making sure you're not spending money on completely garbage search queries. The final one is broad match, which by far is the most lenient. And as you can see here, if we were targeting the low carb diet plan in Google Ads, we could come up for carb-free foods, low carb diets, Mediterranean diet books, how to cut carbs for beginners, carb-free meals, literally anything related to low carb diet plan we will pop up for. Now, if you're doing something like lead generation, this becomes a big problem because say we just put in the keyword pool installation, you can also pop up for pool installation companies looking to hire, pool installation tips and tricks, stuff that is completely unrelated to your company when you're trying to get leads in. And this becomes a substantial problem and you're going to waste a lot of money doing this. I've seen so many accounts where they will use broad match and they will get so many search queries in, and it's very difficult to actually optimize everything with broad match because there's just so many search queries, and they will just waste and waste and waste money, and then at the end of the day go, well, clearly Google Ads didn't work, and it was just because they were using broad match. That being said, there are situations where broad match does work, and I'm going to get into that now. Now, when it comes to your situation, everyone's situation is going to be different on what match types you should actually use. What we like to do for lead generation is we like to use a combination of phrase and exact match. The reason being is exact match really lets you dial in on those top performing keywords, and phrase match allows you to explore and find new keywords for your account without being overly lenient and wasting money. That being said, there's also situations where we do use broad match because our search volume is very low and we need to be able to go after every single keyword out there. It's just no other option. There's not a lot of search volume and we need some way to expand our search area. Now, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, really situational. Now, if you are in a situation where you had perfect conversion tracking and you knew what every single sale went to, and you knew exactly where and when everything occurred, and all that data fed right back into Google Ads. You knew what calls closed, which, forms closed, all of that. Perfect scenario, you could easily use broad match and get away with it. That the reason being is essentially Google can then optimize with the actual closes as opposed to just the leads generated. But with lead generation, there's a big difference between someone who is a lead and someone who is a qualified lead and someone who closes into a sale. If you don't have that perfect CRM with all that perfect data leading into Google's AI, it becomes a very difficult situation on how to actually optimize this stuff. Now, in the world of e-commerce where you're selling products online, broad match becomes a lot more viable because it's very easy to track what closed as a sale because the person clicked the add to cart button and then bought it. You can tell Google Ads, hey, they did this, just optimize for that. Broad match becomes a lot more viable, but still in the current climate, it's very difficult to get away with broad match for lead generation. And I would suggest if you don't have that perfect system, using phrase match and exact match to the best of your abilities, as that will save you a lot of headache and a lot of essentially wasted money and search queries that you would have to sift through to make sure everything is perfect. Now, moving forward, how do we actually set these match types? And this is pretty easy. What we're gonna do is, I have an old account here. This is our demo account, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with it. What we're gonna do is you're gonna scroll down here from the top. You're gonna come here to audience, keywords, and content, and then we're gonna come over here to search keywords. Now, if you are using a search campaign, these will be available. If you're using a display campaign or another type of campaign, these will not be available. And as you can see under the headline match type, you can see phrase match. And most of these are automatically in phrase match. That's the ones we use. And we can come in here, we can just click on the actual match type and change it to whatever we want, broad match, exact match, or phrase match. Now, if we were adding these in bulk, I would highly suggest using a tool called AdWords Wrapper. The reason being is, say we have a long list of keywords, we come over here to the blue plus icon, we can add it to whatever campaign we like. Let's do pool installation, coastal edge pools, pick an ad group. We can add in a ton, and I mean a ton of keywords all at any given moment. I'm just gonna click through all of them so you can see. The issue becomes the different match types. If you're gonna leave everything in broad match, which is just adding the keywords as you see here, that's completely fine. You don't have to use anything. But if you wanted to use phrase match or exact match, you need to add brackets or quotations around every single keyword like you see me doing here. And that is a very time-consuming process. So what I would recommend is using a program like AdWords Wrapper. As you can see here, it's a great little tool. Come over here, paste, wrap keywords, and you just scroll down to the one you want. Normally you're going to be using phrase match or exact match. You can find these two down here. You can just hit copy and essentially it does all the wrapping for you. I'll leave the link for AdWords Wrapper down below. It's completely free. You don't got to pay for it. And then as you can see, all of these are in quotations. You don't got to worry about adding any of them and you can just hit save and you're good. And that will add it to your account. Now, two things I would like to mention. The first one is when you start off a campaign, I normally recommend starting off a bit more strict and then growing. And that's completely fine. I would rather not waste a whole bunch of money up front and then slowly grow. Sometimes you will need a more lenient keyword. Maybe you go from exact match to phrase match or you go from phrase match to broad match. But my recommendation for most people starting out with Google Ads is start off more strict. That way you can see the results. Maybe you have great results with exact match and you don't need to use anything more lenient. Maybe you need to expand to phrase match or maybe you need to expand to broad match. Those are my general principles to follow. It's just a nice fail safe to have because a lot of people will just be like, I'm good, send it, and they'll put everything to broad match and then they'll blow $10,000 in a day. And they're like, oh, there's a problem. And this is essentially one of the things that prevents that from happening, or they spend their entire budget in a day. And the second thing I would also recommend is definitely optimizing these keywords. Just because you use the correct match type doesn't mean it is perfect and there are going to be no improper search queries. You still have to go through on a regular basis to actually check them. And the way to do that is very simple. All you have to do is, as you can see, we are clicked in search queries, is come over here to negative search keywords. And when you have a keyword you see in your actual search terms, as you can see in here under the insights and report, you just click on search terms. They'll have a whole bunch of search terms of which you actually appeared from. You can just copy them or actually add them from here. If you wanted to add them in bulk, you can come back here to search keywords, hit negatives, and then add them in bulk as well. You can add them at the campaign type or the ad group type. I would highly recommend the campaign type, as that makes things a lot easier and you don't have to add them to every single ad group. And then you can just paste them in here. Very, very simple process. Now, if you want to continue optimizing this account, like I suggest everyone should in Google Ads, we have a free Google Ads optimization checklist. It walks you through on what to do on a weekly, monthly, and 3-monthly basis. It also allows you to jot down your results so you can see you're making progress month over month. And as you can see right now, a whole bunch of people are using it online. By the way, the link for that is down below. Now, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave a comment down below. I will do my best to get back to it. Things have been crazy as of lately, so it might take me a couple days to actually reply to your comment. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I wish you all well.